Hello, welcome back, and today we're going to go over, sleeping in the field. Usually, in the German army, you'd be split into groups of 4, each man carrying his own tent that you then combine into one big tent. But something else you could do is what's called a Deckelgarage, which is where just 2 men do, it's usually called in modern terms a bivvy, which is just like a little tent. I'm going to demonstrate. So if you look here, usually what you carry on you is 3 poles, some string, 3 pegs, and your Zeltbahn. So as there's 2 of us, everything's doubled up, and this is what's going to make our Deckelgarage. Alright, so this is actually our first time doing this, so we're kind of doing an experiment on how they would set it up. As you can see, we've got 2 Zeltbahns laid out, but they do seem quite short, don't they? And as you can tell, James over here is quite a tall freak of nature. So whether or not we'll be able to get him to fit into the completed tent, that's going to be another thing. So we're just going to try and put this together and see what happens. Right, we're going to do a bit of experimenting here. We've actually got East German poles, which are actually slightly longer than World War One, but we have 3 poles put together, and we were thinking of maybe having it lower, going up across them, but these poles don't actually fit in those holes, so it's going to be quite short, and how we're going to fit James in, it's going to be the challenge. But I'll give him his poles, and we're just going to stand them up. And then we've got our bits of string. So one goes on here. And then if you just hold yours where you are. Again, these pegs are incorrect. The wartime ones are similar to the early East German ones, but these are the late ones. But I mean, pegs are pegs. And at the end of the day, you kind of want something sturdy. I think they did make wooden pegs at some point, but you don't get much repros of them. Loosely peg it in for now, because we're not staying in it overnight. Alright, so we're going to have to use modern pegs for now, because there should be rope loops at each of the corners, except we don't have any, so we're not going to use them. We're just going to use modern pegs. We'll get the tent pegged out, and we'll see if James can have a good night's sleep in his Deckelgarage. So having a bivvy like this, it's quite useful for displays. Having all 4 relies on all your group members having the right kit, which can be expensive. Usually the go-to Zeltbahns like Nestov. These are the Soldier Fortune ones, the late war ones. They're not actually too bad, but it can be quite a commitment for something that wasn't really used much through the war. So these are the late war ones, but they were supplementary. We know this. I'm stealing this story from Feldpost, who gave us the idea for this video. But they said the Saxons actually asked the Prussians, should we dye all of our ochre Zeltbahns grey? But in the trenches, the old ochre versions were actually a bit better. And when the war started moving again in 1918, the Prussians gave out permission where you could wear your greatcoat covering the top of your Zeltbahn when it's on your torso there. So if you're doing like early war, then you need something like this. But for display, keep your kit safe when you're reenacting. And here it is, our completed Deckelgarage. It is a good size if you're a regular sized bloke like myself. but we're going to test it with a resident skyscraper. James, got the blanket out for him as well. Of course, because it takes the kit of 2 people, you would be expected to fit 2 people in here. You reckon you can sleep in that?
I might have wet feet.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, so as you can see, it is more designed for malnourished Victorians. But again, you could have all 4 do a full-size tent. Although I reckon that would probably lead to even more crampage. There'd be a lot less space. Alright, so thank you very much for watching. This has been our little experimentation with Deckelgarages. Thank you very much to James for helping me set this up. This is a 2-man job, obviously. What do you think of the Deckelgarage, James?
I think it's not ideal for someone of my height, but it's an easy setup. It's a quick setup. I'm not sure on the practicality, but we got there.
Yeah, we did get there at the end. Remember, we do have an Instagram, Discord, Facebook. Be sure to follow us. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share this video to whoever you want to take in your Deckelgarage with you. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.